Finally, after 30 long years, we get a remake of The Legend of Zelda Land of Gamelon. Wait, what? It's not a remake? Oh, okay. It's a new game basically that will release on the 26th of September 2024. The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. Now, this game is an actual Legend of Zelda. What I mean by that is that ever since the first Legend of Zelda was released in 1986, every game that we've been playing consists of you playing as Link in The Legend of Zelda, but for the first time after the Land of Gamelon, what you can do is that you can play as Zelda and save Link and the rest of the kingdom. So there are a bunch of reasons for why I feel like this could be the best 2D Zelda game. We're gonna get into the details in just a little while, but before that, if you're new to this channel and want to see more videos like this in the future, then consider subscribing. Now let's move on to the actual video. Let's start off with the fact that this game has a bunch of different features that people really like to see in Zelda games. And I'm not just talking about the 2D Zelda games but also the 3D ones, especially the ones that are more recent such as Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. What happens in it is basically that it is a 2D Zelda game which has some 3D Zelda features incorporated into it. And to explain that, first of all, let's just talk about the 2D aspect. Now, when you talk about all the 2D Zelda games that have been released so far, when I say the words a great 2D Zelda, what is it that comes to your mind? You may think about classics such as A Link to the Past or the Minish Cap, or the more recent ones like the remake for Link's Awakening or A Link Between Worlds. Now, these games have some stuff in common that makes them really enjoyable. There's a good story and storytelling aspects, the gameplay is amazing, and of course, the entire games are based around a certain puzzle solving aspect. So all of that stuff adds up to making them great games. Now, these are things that we like in 2D Zelda games, right? So imagine we take those features and put it into the Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. Now this is the 2D aspect of the game. Now when we move on to what we've taken from the 3D Zelda games, let me ask you, why do you think that people find it so fun to play the newer 3D Zelda games such as the Breath of the Wild? I feel like the main reason for this is that the freedom that they provide you. There's a lot of creativity involved because there's a bunch of different things that you can do and you have a lot of different options. Like you could literally solve a single puzzle in 8 to 9 different ways and maybe even more based upon how you want to do it and how you've reduced to solve that particular puzzle. So this is basically a really fun way to play. Now in The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, we've seen this whole concept of echoes. Now what happens is that basically we can make copies or duplicates from different items from across the world, and what happens is that if you want to make that thing appear in some other place, then that's exactly what you can do using that wand that Zelda has. And this is something that really boosts up the creativity in the game because you could basically use a bunch of different ways and a bunch of different strategies throughout the game. So it gives you the freedom from the 3D Zelda games, and that's really nice to look at, and that's really something that we want to be incorporated into the 2D Zelda games because it ultimately gives you a lot of freedom and a lot of different options. And understand that one of the main reasons that people like the Zelda games so much in general is because of the puzzle solving aspect. It's really satisfying to solve puzzles, and when you get more freedom from that area, it's even more fun. So all of these things combined together, you have a good story, you have a good storytelling aspect to the game, you have puzzles, and those puzzles can be solved in a bunch of different ways, and you basically have a lot to explore. There's a lot of creativity involved, so that's what makes it a really good Zelda game. Now let's move on to the art style of the game, and honestly speaking, I'm not really a big fan of this art style like the one in this game and in Link's Awakening, because I like the more realistic Zelda games like Twilight Princess. But that's like a different story for a different video, so let's just leave it at that. I feel like it's a pretty good art style, but it's not the best. But it's a subjective thing. People like different types of Zelda games, so we can't really agree upon one thing. So let's just keep it at that. But something I want to add on is that this kind of art style could bring in the people or attract the people that aren't as familiar with Zelda games in general, so it's probably a good thing. Now the next thing that I would like to talk about is something that a lot of people feel like was needed. There's basically a breath of fresh air that we have from the fact that this is a game in which we play not as Link but as Zelda. Now we've been playing as Link for a really long time, and I don't feel like the story gets repetitive in any way. but this is a nice change of pace in my opinion. So the next reason that I feel like it could be the best 2D Zelda game is because it's unique. You don't play as Link, you play to save Link, which is, it's kind of a weird concept, but at the same time it's unique, and it is like fun to see that the person that always helps the others, like the hero, is the one that you're gonna save this time around. So you're always playing as the person that has the Triforce of Courage, but this time you're the one that has the Triforce of Wisdom, which is Zelda. So it's a nice change of pace, and it is a really fun, gimmicky way to introduce a new Zelda game, which I appreciate. Like, imagine if this was a new 2D Zelda game with Link doing the usual hero stuff, and like you're saving the princess and you're defeating Ganon and all of that. I mean, of course, it would have played out good gameplay wise, but it would have been kind of repetitive, so this is really nice. So, these were my main reasons for why I feel like The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom could be the best 2D Zelda game. Let me know what you think about all this in the comments, and if you feel like there's something that I missed, then let me know about that as well. If you don't agree with anything that I said, then you can also let me know about that. If you enjoyed this video, then like it, and if you want to see more videos like this, then subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.
Oh boy, I'm so hungry I could eat an Octorok.
Dig in. That was a bit rich, but okay.